Call the board meeting to order and then we'll proceed. So,
Okay, we're gonna start the roll call. Board member Charles,
Here.
board member Evans,
Here.
board member Spencer's here, Hackle Smith and Julie Madison's absent. And we'll turn it over.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the third public forum. First thing we'll do is call this to order. Just a reminder, there's a registration sheet over there for those attending the forum. It's a request to speak registration sheet over there for those wishing to address the LPC. LPC members, or do you want me to go through the LPC members?
no one signed up to speak. I'll just look.
Okay, so like I said, the public forum was there to open. And if you need to go through the LPC's purpose and process, if that's the case, then I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the public forum.
If there's no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion. Now, welcome everybody to the local planning committee. And the first thing on the agenda, if you would please look at the minutes of the last meeting from 2/27/17, and I need a motion to approve those minutes, please.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes. Second.
Any comments, questions, or concerns? If there are none, I need all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Discussion KDE revision to draft plan, Tim Murphy. Oh, I'm sorry.
Chelsea, where?
Here the last time. Okay.
Make sure that she
We still have enough.
turned over to Tim Murphy.
Well, thank you all. Good to see you again. I know we had a rushed meeting last time, but at the end of that meeting, you all asked me to send the concept draft plan up to KDE to get their comments on it. They reviewed it. They had very little to say. They were, I think, quite satisfied with the plan. We have it back here tonight. What I want to do is go through it in detail, take all the time that we want, see if there are any changes that we made or need to be made. And once that's done, if you all are satisfied, get a vote so that this can be sent to the board. So folks, I'll walk through this. Our plan, it's due in June, but we've got to then get everything turned in April, so we are on our schedule, and thank you all for working so hard to get that done. First thing, our organization hasn't changed. We're still planning to stay with preschool through 8, and then 9 through 12 at the high school. Our school centers are the high school. Elementary, we have the current K-8 Menifee County School and the BOTS, and we're showing both of those as transitional because they will be replaced by the new facility that we're talking about building, okay? Can you scoot me down to where that's at the top? Perfect, thank you. So what we've said is in the next biennium, hopefully with funding, what we want to build is a new preschool through 8 center, 750 student capacity on a new site to be determined. And one of the things the Department of Education did is took one last look at my RAF program. They tweaked it down a little bit, which is fine. There's still plenty of square footage in there. The 79,557. So that was one of the changes. I think I was at 80 and some change, so it's not much. And that did slightly affect the cost. And then I am quite pleased they allowed us to keep the demolition of the old facility as part of this first step.
Will that be,
So I was.
will that be adequate with all the asbestos, with the abating the asbestos?
Let me finalize that number if we need to. We've got an asbestos report.
Ward Franklin,
Okay.
yeah.
There's very few possibilities of that.
There's
Okay.
very few, there's some, tile and that kind of thing, I just wanted it to be.
Okay. Then if it's just the tile, I'm not
It's very limited.
too worried about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I was just
Okay.
curious.
Yep. So that was the only thing we had in the next 2 years that we said we wanted to tackle. And that's based on the nickel tax that you all passed, and then hopefully some matching funds from the state coming through, okay? Everything else is listed as happening after the 2018 biennium. That started with the high school renovation, the pieces that we can, 92, 97, and 98. We're talking about HVAC replacement of those, ADA plumbing upgrades, including the fixtures, life safety systems, fire protection, enunciators, those are the alarms that flash, security upgrades, an atrium, and gym roof repairs that need to be done, okay? And then we put a cost to that of $2.8 million. Then on top of that, we are saying, let's add an auditorium. There's a cost that goes with that of about $1.1 million. Family Resource Center, a nurse office suite, and then custodial receiving are all items that if you look around the high school right now, not per se designated, so we've included those costs at the high school. If you'll slide me down a little bit, we'll look at BOTS. What we said with BOTS is that it's to become central office / alternative school. We are allowed to do some renovation of things that haven't been done, the cost of about $1.8 million. And then regardless of schedule, ideally we have to do something. We don't have bus garage. Whether that's a part of BOTS or whether that's a new facility, we went ahead and listed a new facility. And the cost for that at 8,000 feet is about $2 million. Okay? So those are the things that add into our district need line, which is 26,560 and some change. Okay? So that's going to be, again, as Tim and I have talked, that's going to be your need that gets compared and lumped in with everybody else's, and then you'll get your pro rata, your allocated share based on your need. So that's a good need number. Below that, they ask us to identify discretionary construction things, and these are our sports complex items. We've got $2.25 million there. Land acquisition, we just threw in a number, and then land acquisition site development for the PK facility. Now, this is just how your old plan was written. Now, once you undertake item number 1, we would be allowed to include this cost up there. But this is how it needs to be broken out in case you went and bought land separately and then waited several years to build the school. Okay, so that's how they want to track it. Does that make sense? So folks, your plan is pretty straightforward, with the exception of the size and configuration of the K-8 facility. It's very similar to what you had before. Because time has passed, you're now allowed to do some renovations that are desperately needed for this facility, so those are now included, which certainly need to be done. What questions do you have? Did we capture everything that you intended when you sent us away last time? I guess would be the first question. So we'll be taking back up to where we start with Kate. Yeah, right there, great. Here, I'll get out of the way. I need to stand in front. I thought this was everything we talked about, but certainly wanted to make sure. This has gone to KEE and got a very quick response back, which was a healthy sign that they were happy with it. And I think they're going to be satisfied with this plan, what you all are and the board is. Tim, what else should I, either one of the Tims, what else should I add here?
So everything, I think the changes is very minimal from what you approved last time. I think it was just, as Mr. Murphy stated, just reducing the size of maybe the cafeteria by 4,000 to 3,000 square.
Right, well, the auditorium.
Auditorium,
Yeah.
so just very small changes. But, I think KDE from the responses is very pleased with this. I think from listening to folks within the community, I think this is what they want, is I think they want a new elementary school. And, to me, I'm very pleased with the plan. I think it gives us something to move forward, and, I think you've done a really good job with, from the architect, the facilities group working together, and the LPC. Y'all done a good job with it. And I think we really covered the district needs.
As far as what the district will do as far as land acquisition, will that include the LPC as well, or will that just go through central office?
That would go through the board,
Okay,
because that's something you're going to close session on.
okay, just making sure.
Yeah. And there's a lot to go into with land acquisition. There's a whole big statute that it has to have certain requirements before you can even consider land. I mean, two of the major things are sewage, water, electricity, and gas. And when you look at Menifee County, those are things that are tough to come by.
If a suitable site come along, how soon could the board a part of it? While the option was on a suitable site.
Mr. Murphy, you can help me with this, but I think I can answer it, but you feel free to add. And then feel the same way, because I know you probably purchased several pieces of property in Placer County along the way. But typically what would happen is we would have to have KDE, we'd look at sites. I think the site would have to be close to approximately 18 acres. Since it's a middle school, it has to be 10 acres plus, for every 100 students, it has to be 1 acre. So you're looking around 17.5 acres for the facility. Maybe a little bit where it's a K-8 facility, might we get away with a little bit less acres than that, but I don't know that for sure. Then they would go through the process, the board would probably have some discussions, I would probably go out and try to find some property. Then I would go and meet with KDE and say, hey, these are some potential sites in Menifee County. Would your team care to come and look at these and go through the checklist for this property? Once that occurred, then, once they gave me the approval, then we could start working with landowners, and maybe even we could put a deposit down on that property while that process was even going through, making sure that KDE was up to date with that.
The only other thing that I would add is that working with potential property owners, ideally, and again, maybe it's part of the deposit or some kind of escrow money, it would be handy to do a couple of holes of drilling, find out where rock is. That's going to be my biggest site development issue. So if that property owner would allow, the board might expend a little bit of money to go ahead and do some early tests.
If a piece of property come up that was larger than what you needed, do you have an option to bid first?
Do I have the option to?
Can you purchase a bigger piece of property than what you need?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it sometimes takes that to get developable area, so you may have to purchase more than.
For planning for the future.
Right. Yeah, there's not an issue with that.
And the only thing I think with the property is that, you just have a state appraiser come in and appraise the property, and then you try to negotiate from that standpoint. Because you can't pay, we're a school district, so you couldn't pay an astronomical fee for a piece of property.
If there are many regulations.
Fair market value, yeah.
KRS is very detailed and complicated, and a lot of times.
And as superintendent said, when he brings back Department of Education to take a look at the sites, they'll also ask Highway Department to come along, because they'll have to approve any access points, look at traffic flow, so they'll come along as well.
With your experiences as far as engineering, what's the turnaround time? Say that there's a site that we find, or that the board finds, and KDE comes out. What's the turnaround time from KDE getting on the ground to getting back to the board for purchasing purposes?
Oh, they're gonna give you their opinion that day, pretty quick.
Yeah.
So,
And, you know, you're fortunate, you're state managed, so we've got pretty good access to.
Have a good end with that part of education.
If there's a good thing as far as being state managed,
Right.
that's probably
That's
a
what I-
good thing about it.
The turnaround there is quick, if an opportunity arises, we want to jump on it.
And we've expedited this process. You know, and I know folks who, you know, think we may have went through this process rather hurriedly, but we've been gathering this information since I've been on the ground. So we tried to get the word of the community is what you want in the facility. And so we've tried to take into it the people within since July 15th.
If that's all the questions, then we probably need to move on down to approval and vote on the draft revision. So, are there any more questions?
The reduction in square footage of the new building, big deal, not a big deal?
It's not a big deal because there's no written, here's a 750 student K through 8 program like there is for an elementary or middle or high. It's a little bit of a hybrid. And we've been going back and forth. I took first pass at it. Tim Lucas, part of education, sort of came back to me. Close on a number. I suspect that once he took that and took it to Greg Dunbar, the director, they tweaked it just a bit because we lost a few hundred square feet. It was, one of the nice things that they did allow you all to do in that program is, I think I mentioned this before, size all the classrooms for elementary size, so it'll all be 800 instead of some of the middle school would just be 750. So it gives you great flexibility. Educators are going to know that sometimes there's a bubble in the snake, and you got more second graders that are going to move on through. So you need that flexibility to kind of adjust the building a little bit. And I was appreciative that they recognized that.
Do we need to bring Mr. Rhodes up to the speed on his question?
I think that's what they're in the process of doing right now.
We want to give him an opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There you go.
You can get away with it here.
John, are you good, or do you need to ask any questions on what's going on? Or?
There, answered your question, okay.
I mean,
We didn't
we
mean to
wanna-
put you on the spot.
No, and that's what was going on.
I was trying to, I want
Yeah, I
to give
get
him an
you.
opportunity to get questions.
So, I mean, if there's any questions, you have that forward to address them. We've addressed the questions already, but by all means. So on this, when we go to section 4, approval and vote on the draft of revisions, we're going to do this by a show of hand vote. So I'm going to open the floor, no questions, comments, or concerns before we go on.
And I cannot vote, I'm just as a,
He's already raised his hand.
okay? My vote is no.
Okay. So I need a motion to approve the new draft revisions first.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
I got you. If there's any comments, questions, or concerns?
Okay.
by a show of hands. All those in favor signify by raising your hand, please.
Keep them up for a second, please.
So motion carries. Section 5 is next steps with Mr. Timmy.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to compliment you all on your work here. You've done a fabulous job. And I really don't think you've rushed it. Tim was talking about that, but I really think you've prepared well even prior to bringing your committee together. So you did a great job and covered it well. And you saw the needs that are best for your kids, so that's great. I want to compliment Mr. Murphy. This is the first time I've worked with him. I hope it won't be the last. He's done a great job for you too, and Mr. Spencer. But the next steps, committee members often want to know what happens next. Well, your board meets Thursday night, the 16th, and this plan, this approved revised plan that is good with KDE now, as Mr. Murphy said, goes before your board. And if that's approved, and I expect it will be, then it will go back to Frankfurt Friday morning, and they will give us permission to have our final step, which is a public hearing. Now, I understand you've had 3 public forums here, which was an opportunity for anyone to come in, ask questions, find out specifically what's going on with the work that you've been doing. And to this date, we have not had anyone sign up to speak. So many times when that occurs at the hearing, you usually don't have anyone come to the hearing. But the hearing is different. The hearing's for comment only because, again, they've had their opportunity to come and ask all the questions they want to about the work you've been doing. At the hearing, I will conduct the hearing, and if anyone comes, it's for comment only. They would pick up a plan at the office. There'll be some extra plans there within the 2 weeks that it's advertised. It has to be advertised for 14 days in the local paper, and then we'll conduct the hearing. You are not required to come to the hearing. If you want to come to the hearing, you're very welcome to come, but no, just your work, for the most part, is finished tonight. And I know this district appreciates this is volunteering for hours of time out of your schedule. I know they appreciate that. But everyone's welcome to come to the hearing, and you will see that in the date it will be advertised. But you're not required to be there. The only person required to be there is me. I'm the hearing officer. But I'm going to ask Mr. Spencer to be there too. Because I know he has felt left out. He couldn't vote. And I want him to get in on that. But I appreciate the opportunity to work with you, and it's been a pleasure. And you guys have been great to attend and very interested in what's going on, and it's not like that at a lot of places I go. So thank you.
So now we're in section 6, final comments by Mr. Spencer. Tim Spencer.
Getting ready for Greg tomorrow. First of all, I really want to thank each and every one of you for being involved in this process. This is really some of the best work that you will do as far as providing and promoting the students of Menifee County. You all are fortunate as far as this LPC to where we can hopefully go through and have a new school constructed and have for many years for students of Menifee County to be able to enjoy. Once again, as Mr. Eaton has stated, you don't get, there's no extra pay for this, but you have dedicated your time for the benefits of the students of Menifee County. And I just want to personally thank each and every one of you for participating in this process. We've had community members, Mayor, Ms. Brown, thank you for your services. Parents, thank you. Mr. Brown as a community member as well. Mr. Rhodes, thank you for your services. And then our 3 principals, you all done a really good job leading this. And then our teachers and central office staff person and custodial supervisor. You all done a really good job, and I didn't forget our board member, Lori Sorrell, back there for the work that she's doing. But also, the community of Menifee County has spoken. When they passed that nickel tax, that gave us a little bit more flexibility in the possibility of being able to get this new school and get it a whole lot quicker than what we would have been able to without the passage of that nickel. Now we do need to get some help from the state legislatures, and hopefully they will speak at the next biennium in the spring of 18. So, our next steps, of course, will be to have the hearing. We will get this on the KDE board agenda in June. Should be approved in June, and then hopefully then we can start the process of getting some drafts and so forth of what a potential school may be, and also get some sites possibly picked out, and hopefully start making some acquisitions to where we can kind of have an idea of what direction we're going. But anyway, I want to personally thank each and every member here this evening. You all have done a fantastic job. I've been involved with LPCs. I've been in administration for 20 years, so that means I've been through at least 4 to 5 LPCs. And I can honestly tell you this has been the smoothest LPC that I've ever been a part of. And I think that speaks very highly of you, and I think it also speaks very highly of Menifee County. Also want to thank the board members. I think all 4 of these board members, I think, have been to all 4 of the meetings, or all 3 of the public forums. And I appreciate you coming and participating in the LPCs. I think that speaks really well, and the board represents and really wants, it puts the students of Menifee County at the heart of everything that you're doing. So thank you all. And then, of course, we've got some visitors with parents and community members, so thank you all for being here tonight. So we also have, I won't forget Mr. McCoolcock. I asked him to come to these meetings, even though he's not a part of the LPC, but I think he also provides some valuable information, especially when we're talking about some food service. And we also have Mr. Barton from one of the construction companies throughout the community, just here as a visitor and representative of Menifee County. So thank everyone this evening, and good work, excellent work. And I guess I forgot to thank our architect and our facilitator. Thank you all for your work. And Kelly, you set the meetings up. Chelsea, good job.
Yeah, Chelsea and Lori.
So if I missed anyone, thank you.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you cover everybody, because if you don't, they'll remind you. So right now, I need a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make a motion.
Harry Brown. Need a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Now, turn the meeting back over to the Menifee County Board.
Is there any more communication sharing? Do I have a motion to adjourn here?
Motion by Manna, seconded by Evans.
All those in favor of adjourning? Aye. We are adjourned.